It was a cold autumn evening when Daniel Reed trudged along the narrow dirt path through the woods, his old flashlight flickering against the shadows. The trees loomed tall and silent, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. Daniel wasn't out for a walk, he was searching for firewood. He was a single father, barely making ends meet. His little daughter, Lily, was waiting at home, wrapped in a worn blanket, humming to herself to drown out the sound of her stomach growling. Life hadn't been kind to Daniel. His wife had passed away 2 years ago from cancer, leaving him alone with a 5-year-old and a mountain of debt. He worked 2 jobs, mechanic by day, night guard by evening, but still couldn't catch up on bills. That night, he was just hoping to gather enough dry branches to warm their small cabin before the next frost. But as he was about to turn back, a faint, muffled sound reached his ears. It was so soft, it almost blended with the wind. A voice. "Help me." Daniel froze. He spun around, scanning the darkness. Nothing, just trees and silence. Then again, a faint cry. This time, more desperate. "Please, help." He ran toward the sound, tripping over roots and wet leaves until his flashlight caught something strange, a patch of dirt, uneven, freshly disturbed. And then, a hand. A trembling, pale hand reaching out of the ground. Daniel's heart stopped. For a second, he thought he was hallucinating. But then the hand moved again. He dropped to his knees and started digging frantically with his bare hands, the cold earth cutting his fingers. "Hang on, I've got you," he shouted. Minutes felt like hours as he clawed through the soil until he uncovered a face, a woman, gasping for air, dirt covering her lips and hair. Her eyes were wild with terror, tears streaking through the mud. Daniel gently lifted her out of the shallow grave, wrapped his old jacket around her, and carried her toward his truck. Her voice trembled, barely audible. "Please, don't let them find me." Back at his small cabin, Daniel laid her on his couch near the fire. Lily peeked from behind her door, clutching her teddy bear. "Daddy, who's that?" Daniel forced a reassuring smile. "Just someone who needs help, sweetheart. Go back to your room, okay?" He turned back to the woman. She looked to be in her late 20s, her clothes torn, her hands bruised. She winced when he tried to clean her wounds. "Do you remember what happened?" he asked softly. She looked at him, eyes full of fear and exhaustion. "I was taken. They wanted money. She hesitated, as if unsure whether to tell him. Then, almost whispering, "I'm Emily Walker." Daniel froze. That name was all over the news. Emily Walker, the missing billionaire heiress who vanished 5 days ago after a charity event in the city. He couldn't believe it. The woman lying on his couch was one of the wealthiest people in the country. And someone had tried to bury her alive. Daniel didn't ask questions that night. He gave her food, a blanket, and his daughter's spare pillow. She slept by the fire, trembling even in her dreams. He barely slept at all. The next morning, she woke to the sound of sizzling eggs. Lily was giggling as Daniel flipped pancakes, something rare in their home. Emily smiled faintly for the first time. "You didn't have to do this." Daniel shrugged. "You needed food. So did we. Pancakes make people feel human again." For the next few days, Emily stayed hidden in the cabin. She was too afraid to go to the police. Whoever had buried her might still be watching. Daniel fixed her phone, which had been smashed, and brought her fresh clothes from a thrift store. In those quiet days, she saw something in him, the kind of kindness that had nothing to do with money. One evening, as snow began to fall outside, Emily watched Daniel helping Lily draw shapes by candlelight. The little girl's laughter filled the small cabin like sunlight. Emily whispered, almost to herself, "You're a good man, Daniel." He looked up, half smiling. "Just doing what anyone would do." She shook her head. "No, not everyone would." But peace didn't last. One night, while Daniel was chopping wood outside, headlights appeared in the distance, 2 black SUVs, creeping slowly down the dirt road. Emily's face went pale. "It's them." Daniel grabbed Lily and Emily, ushering them to the back door. "Go out the back, into the woods. Don't look back." She hesitated. "What about you? I'll lead them away." Before she could argue, he kissed Lily's forehead. "Daddy will be right behind you." Then he ran toward the front of the house, grabbing his old hunting rifle. The SUVs stopped. Men in black coats stepped out. "Where is she?" one of them barked. Daniel stood his ground, hands trembling but steady. "You're trespassing." The men advanced, but before they could reach him, a siren wailed in the distance. Red and blue lights flashed through the trees, the sheriff's car. Emily had used the phone he fixed to send her location. Within minutes, the kidnappers were arrested. Emily collapsed in relief, tears streaming down her face as Daniel finally emerged from the woods with Lily in his arms. A few days later, the story exploded across the news: billionaire heiress rescued by single father after being buried alive. Reporters swarmed Daniel's cabin, but he stayed quiet, humble as always. Emily tried to repay him, offered him money, a new house, a future. He refused it all. "I didn't save you for a reward," he said simply. "You were a person who needed help. That's enough." But Emily wouldn't let it end there. A month later, she returned, not in fancy cars or designer clothes, but alone, in jeans and a sweater. Daniel was fixing his truck outside. He looked up, surprised. "Emily," she smiled gently, "I came to see you. And Lily." Lily ran out, cheering, "Miss Emily," and hugged her tightly. Emily crouched down, tears in her eyes. "You saved me, sweet girl. You and your dad." Then she stood and turned to Daniel. "There's something I need to tell you." He frowned, unsure. She took a deep breath. "The night you found me, when I whispered to you, do you remember?" Daniel nodded slowly. "You said, 'Don't let them find me.'" She shook her head. "No, before that, when I thought I was dying, I whispered something else." He blinked. "What?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Greater than, I whispered, 'Please let me live, I want to help someone good.'" Her voice broke. "And then you came, a stranger, with nothing to gain. You became the answer to my prayer." Daniel's throat tightened. He didn't know what to say. Emily stepped closer. "You saved my life, Daniel. And now, I want to save yours." Months passed, and things began to change. With Emily's quiet help, and her immense resources, Daniel's life transformed. Not with handouts, but with opportunity. She helped him open a small auto repair shop in town, Lily's Garage, named after his daughter. Business boomed, and Daniel was finally able to provide the life he'd always dreamed of for his little girl. But more than success, something deeper grew between him and Emily. They shared dinners, laughter, and quiet evenings by the fire. She became part of their small, fragile world, not as a millionaire, but as family. One night, as snow fell softly outside, Lily was asleep on the couch, and Daniel turned to Emily. "Funny, isn't it?" he said. "You were buried in the dark, and I was buried in my own life. Guess we both got pulled out." Emily smiled through tears. "Maybe we were both meant to save each other." And in that moment, with warmth, love, and the crackle of the fire around them, they finally understood: sometimes the universe doesn't send angels with wings. It sends broken souls who find light in each other. Narrator's closing line: "We never know when an act of kindness will change everything." Daniel saved a stranger's life, but in doing so, he found his own. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because one simple act of kindness can turn tragedy into something truly beautiful. Heart.